one thing that I've been obsessed with lately is Star Wars. And we went to the bookstore a little while back and we got some Star Wars books. I got the Jedi Path here and the Book of the Sith, just for balance, I suppose. There's also a Mandalorian book, but this was a while ago when we went shopping and the Mandalorian wasn't a show yet, and so we weren't all super interested in Mandalorians. At that point, we'll have to go back. So for now, I just want to talk about these two books and kind of look at the Jedi versus the Sith and the whole philosophy behind Star Wars. Books like this have been labeled, they're not canon, but to give Disney the freedom and the creativity that they want to build their Star Wars universe cinematically, they have kind of labeled all of the books that have already been published legends. So the legends of Star Wars are kind of what's included here. So here we were talking about like the Jedi code versus the Sith code, and then there's a gray Jedi code that walks the line in between them. And the thing about the Jedi is there's been a somewhat of a misunderstanding between my friends and I, where the Jedi are, here I'm just going to read the code. So the Jedi are all like, there is no emotion, there's peace. There's no ignorance, there's knowledge, there's no passion, there's serenity, there's no chaos, there's harmony, there's no death, there's the Force. There's no emotion, there's no passion. They come across as very serious, boring sort of people. But then the Jedi that we see evidence of in the movies and the shows are all kind of witty, sarcastic, humorous kind of Jedi. And I think it's just because you also have to remember that while the code is all very well and nice, that these are people and they have personalities and histories and senses of humor, and they get exasperated with their apprentices and they have to deal with that somehow. So that's where I think a lot of the humor and stuff comes in, and you really see Jedi struggling in the Clone Wars and in the prequel series, absolutely, like with that passion element, where to balance the Jedi code with the lifestyle that they actually want for themselves, so versus the lifestyle that was chosen for them. I don't think most of them would pick it if given the choice. That's why we see Anakin go dark side. That's why we see Obi-Wan struggle in the Clone Wars with his whole thing. I haven't actually seen the Clone Wars. I've just seen bits and pieces. Need to go watch that. It's on the list. I just gotta do it. This book is really interesting. The Book of the Sith is very interesting because it's actually several different books in one. You see the different pieces around on the binding here. We have like a prologue, and then so at the beginning it says each recovered text has its own texture and size. We'll never know what the complete books look like. These pages are all that remain. I haven't read this whole thing. It's fascinating, though, just to see the history and thought that's been put into this universe just to make it, like, feel big and real and lived in, and it has a history. And it's just good world building right here. And the cool thing about Star Wars world building is not being built by just one person. I think it's just, this is more of a collaboration between people. So a whole bunch of different people worked on this. That was not George Lucas, is my point, is that a lot of people are in charge of the Star Wars universe and the storytelling of the Star Wars universe these days, and it's being shared, and the knowledge is being shared, and it's all being kind of incorporated by a story group, which is trying to keep everything, consolidated and fitting with the story. It's the collaboration of people that makes for a good story and a great world that feels lived in and big, and it gives people like me an opportunity to add to it. Somebody who works in the world, who comes up with my story, and I can share it with people in the name of Star Wars, and it's actually something that I can come up with myself, and I can use the material for research and kind of live my own Star Wars story, and it's great. Well, thanks for listening to me ramble on about Star Wars for a while, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.